Hi, everyone. I want to welcome my friend Dayvee Sutton. It's actually a friend of a friend who I was referred to. And after a really great conversation with her, I begged and pleaded for her to do this video with us, as I know she has so much to offer and so much that I really think will enhance your life. Dayvee Sutton, spelled Dayveesutton. I had to look to make sure I was doing it right.
Yes.
Um, she has a great website. If you go to dayveesutton.com, you can also check out her podcast, as she just re-released Conversations with Regular Folks. Dayvee, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to becoming a national reporter that covers travel, culture, and the environment?
Yeah, so my career has been in broadcast journalism and started off with traditional stations, mostly covering sports. That was what I covered the bulk of my career. And so I worked for many networks that you might be familiar with. And then I did a career pivot to co-host and report for a lifestyle and entertainment show in Charlotte. I did that for 4 years, and that's where I kind of got my introduction to covering travel stories and knowing that I could do that too. I was then going to move on to start my production company, but then was asked to do sports again. So I did that for about another year before I left altogether traditional news and started an entrepreneurial path. And so I still fashion myself as a journalist. Everything I do is under the umbrella of storytelling, but we kind of create our own path in partnering with television networks and publications, online and digital publications, to create programs, segments. We do branded, integrated content, the whole gamut.
Sounds great. And as a
Yeah.
daughter of a 12-year-old little girl who wants to be a sports broadcaster, I told her that we were having this conversation today, and she's like, I can't wait to watch.
Yeah.
So you're a hero, trust me.
Oh, thanks.
But I know your life has changed and been impacted greatly over the last 60, 75, 90 days between COVID and the Black Lives Matter movement. Can you tell us the one thing that's really important that you would want to express to your audience and maybe share with us today?
The biggest life lesson is that we aren't in control, right? So we can't really enjoy ourselves if we're wasting time trying to fix something that isn't fixable. And it actually delays any joy that we can find, right?
Right.
Early on in the pandemic, when people and governments were trying to figure out, in particular our government, which can be argued are still trying to figure it out. But I had a friend that I love dearly that she is an executive by trade. So her job always when she gets hired for a company is to fix things. And her comments were extremely frustrating when we were told that we just had to shut down and stand by. We were told early on, shut down and stand by. We don't know what we need to do yet. And she said, you can't, her comments were like, you can't do that. And she was basically yelling into, the abyss of this and I just was thinking how incredibly frustrated she has made herself, because her trying to use her executive skills, trying to fix something, has not been called upon to fix it. So she is exerting all of this energy and frustrating herself and being quite miserable for something that she has no control over, right? So that's been my biggest lesson, not my biggest lesson. I think my biggest takeaway from that is like, as much as in control as we especially in this part of the world have been in our lives, like everything was so important to everyone in all of our aspects of life. And we were told to sit down and we couldn't do some of those things, right? So a lot of people over the months have been reevaluating their priorities, and it's been fun to see people start to bake or start to everything that we've done in the 70s. Somebody saying like, I'm having a 1970s vacation with my family because all you can do is pack everybody in the car and take a road trip to to the nearest cabin, right?
Right,
So
right.
I think that's the biggest lesson.
Absolutely. And I think part of it is too, is many of our network are those in the travel industry. And so some of them still may not even be back yet. And so I think it's a bit of an emotional roller coaster for all of us, as some are back and some are not, and some is open and some not yet. When does it open? So again, back to your initial comment, we can't control it. And yet we still, here we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in mid-June in Instagram, you posted that you joined the Black Travel Alliance group. Can you tell us more about that and what drew you to them?
I was drawn to that because in thinking of the travel industry in particular, I don't think there was uh, somewhat of a union, like somewhat of a place or a resource or advocacy group that can speak more than just an individual. And coming from journalism and still being in journalism, there is a really strong organization called the National Association of Black Journalists. And it's so strong that it's considered, when they have their conference, it's the largest career fair for journalists abroad, anywhere in the whole world. And that's because all the executives from all the major networks make sure they have a presence there. Mm-hmm. And so that just shows the power of collecting together to kind of advocate or speak up for a particular issue or problem that could arise in a community instead of standing on your own. And so when they formed the Black Travel Alliance, I thought that was a great opportunity to be a part of something that could serve in that way. And it's more of just like, if I had an issue personally, I might have been intimidated or afraid, or even a young person in the industry, someone probably could offer advice. They could even probably as a collective speak up on your behalf. So it's very new. And of course, these kinds of organizations aren't always perfect, but just the premise behind what they want to do, I really stand for and excited that it's here.
It's such a great organization to be an advocate. I mean, that's really what you highlighted, and what I appreciated of it is you have someone standing in your corner. And I think that's so valuable. Yeah. And I'm going to post in the notes of this, the website there. Again, as I know many of you watch this who are in the travel industry, if you would like to join and find out more about it, the more the merrier. So we want to.
Yeah, because I think it's an alliance. So it's not just it's not a club or exclusive, clique of some sorts, just relegated for Black travel journalists. It's all allies are needed. So I think if you support the mission, you are welcome.
That's great. Count me in. I like it. And then last, I want to congratulate you because I know you're releasing a series of coloring books that are built around travel, inspired by travel.
Yes, I have one here.
Yes, show us. Here it is. I love it. And I'm very passionate about family travel. That's how I got into it, is that travel has had a huge impact on my life, my children's life. And so the fact that you've taken that to the child on their level, I mean, it's brilliant. Tell us a little bit more about them, where they're available, how we can order them, all that.
Yes, they're actually complex enough for adults too. So I say that available for ages 4 to 104. And that first one is called Wonders of the World and Other Fantastic Places to Visit. And then the second one, it's going to be released sometime this week. And that is based on maps of the world. And the third one is Beauties of the World. It's all about women. So that's going to be a fun one. And then the final one is Endangered Species. And so the reason that had been on my list of things to do for a while, and I didn't fully conceptualize like the idea. I just knew it was something I wanted to do. And so during this quarantine time, I was able to check off some of those things on my list, but also understanding, like, I personally hadn't been a coloring book person, but my mother has all for the past few years has done it, and then it trickled down to my sister, and then I have some friends I'll see doing it. But I understand the importance of it. It's a way to detach. Similarly, how people use like reading books to do so, but you can use it to at the end of the night put down your phone instead of scrolling on the internet and social media. You can wind down and just color and doze off, and it's very therapeutic in that way. It reduces anxiety. So all of these beneficial things, when I was researching that, I was like, it's so apropos to this time now, because we are at extreme anxiety, whether we realize it or not. And we all talked about the Corona coaster. I don't know if you heard of that, but that's just kind of like, some days we have great days and some days we can't get out of bed. And is it okay? Okay, people say it's okay, but then you feel like I could be productive with this time. And we go through this roller coaster of all not being able to function the way that we remember functioning. So I think this is a great time to get into coloring, and all of these coloring books are inspired by travel.
That's great. It's a great way to connect us. Where can we get these coloring books?
So I have a lifestyle website it's slowly populating little things that I'm designing. So nice. There is one big theme. I do love maps. I just think that's kind of like what speaks to me as a traveler the most. So I have different items on Travel with Dayvee. And so that is a website, but the easiest way that I've discovered, because I am a new publisher, the quickest way to get your stuff is through the mighty power of Amazon. So you can find it on Amazon all around the world. And also it's distributed through other booksellers too. So you can go to, if you have a favorite bookshop that you like to go to, even a local brick and mortar bookshop, they'll be able to, if they don't already have ordered it, they'll be able to order it for you. So
fantastic. Well, and again, it's here on the website that we're putting, so you're able to go in and shop away, not only for the coloring books, but the other items as well. Friends, I really encourage you to follow Dayvee on her Instagram, on her Facebook page, on really everything she has, her YouTube, her podcast. She has so much great insight to share with us, and I'm honored to have this time with you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.